right, we have talked about the Chinese blue vase and the porcelain that was produced in China, and ancient China. Today we're going to create a symmetrical blue vase. You'll take a piece of paper, fold it in half. Now you need to make sure that the center part where the fold is going to be the center of your vase. You're only going to be drawing half of the vase. So I'll have some examples of different shapes, and we've looked at a few different forms and shapes that were typical in the ancient China. Once you've folded it, you're going to draw your shape, just half of it. You can draw pretty big shape. You can always make it smaller. If you make it too tiny, you're not going to have a lot for your decoration. So you want to fill up most of the space. And then with scissors, you're going to cut it out. Once you've cut it out, I'll show you what you're going to do. Now let's see what it looks like. Now if I like that shape, I can keep it, but let's say I want to make this come in a little bit more. I can always adjust this. If I make it too big to start, I can always easily come back and maybe make this come in a little bit more narrow, so it looks a little bit more like a narrow neck. So that looks pretty good. I think I like that. Maybe I want to adjust the top of this, make it more of a curved top. Okay, after that, you are going to glue it to a piece of green paper, and you have this at your table. Make sure that you've written your name on the back of the green paper and your teacher's name. Glue it to your green paper. Make sure it's kind of at the bottom. Get it stuck. You can get this glue stick on your own. You probably just need one for each table. You guys can share it. Glue it down at the bottom and make sure it's nice and stuck so none of the parts of the base are popping up. And then you can start to create some designs. So at this point, I want to think about some of the natural lines that I see already starting. Right here, it looks like there should be a natural line that kind of comes across my vase. I might have a few more natural lines that I see just starting to kind of naturally, like there would be some kind of a part there. And then other parts to your vase, you're going to draw lightly with a pencil. And I want you to make sure it's light because we're going to go back and paint most of this with blue paint. You can add some maybe flowers. That was typical in the ancient Chinese porcelain, just simple flowers. They don't have to be very complicated. Maybe you want to have some kind of a detail, like an interesting design on the neck. You can do that too. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. The design can be asymmetrical. And then at that point, if we have time, we'll come back with some paint and we'll use a little teeny bit of blue paint and we'll start painting these designs in. I'm going to give you little tiny brushes so that you get those fine details. So again, when you're adding your designs with your pencil, think about painting them as well. So you're going to have just a paintbrush and use the very, very tip of your paintbrush. Notice I'm not getting a lot of paint on my brush, and that helps me control where I put that paint. Once I have a few designs done, sometimes I like to improvise too, and I like just kind of creating things as I see. Little dots kind of add a little bit of a detail, and that's easy to do just with the tip of my brush. You see, I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. It's pretty simple designs, and then we will put these in the drying rack and continue to work on them. We're going to also add some flowers to this space up above, so also just make sure that you have your vase kind of near the bottom of your paper to save some room for your flowers. Now remember, when you cut out your vase, you have to make sure that you cut it with this fold as the middle. If I draw my vase and this part where is open is the middle, watch what happens. It's gonna have my vase won't be symmetrical, it won't be attached. And if that happens, you can always just glue it to your paper together and have it look like that. But you want to also just try to make sure that this folded side is the center of your vase. And if I kind of look at that, that almost looks like it could be a vase. I might be able to save that. make it look a little bit more like a vase. I'm using my problem solving skills. That kind of looks like a vase. So think about it. First fold it, draw the shape of your vase. You're going to cut it out, glue it onto your blue paper, make sure your name is on the back. Start your designs, and if we have time, we'll start adding a little bit of, of blue paint to your Chinese blue vase.